So Joyride is of course about three friends being chased after by a trucker. Those characters are played by. Oh wait, this is not that Joyride. This is a different one. Let's actually talk about that one, which is better. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporiums movie review of Joyride, the newest film from director Adele Lim. So unlike the Joyride that starred, of course, Paul Walker and Lily Sobieski, which of course was a joke, this film is about four Asian women who are played by Ashley Park, Sherry Cola, Sabrina Wu, and Stephanie Hsu, who end up traveling to China to not only see Kat's character, which is played by Stephanie Hsu, who's a famous actress, but is also a trip that the two individuals played by Ashley Park, Sherry Cola, who are best friends, take to, in the end, to find Ashley Park's family, who she's been adopted, so she wants to find her real mother. And it becomes, of course, this very over-the-top, silly, but also very heartfelt, raunchy comedy about four Asian actresses from China who are doing things that you would see in like Girls Trip or, of course, The Hangover, just kind of, crazy, insane set pieces when it comes to the comedy raunchy realm. But in the process, it's basically a story about finding humanity in each other, finding the differences in each other and trying to accept that, as well as trying to find the humanity in themselves about who they are and what they are and where they originally come from. And it becomes that kind of story in a lot of respects. It's very much in the Girls Trip realm where they're four individuals very different in nature, and you have your very typical stereotype tropes when it comes to the character arcs and stuff like that. So when it comes to films like Joyride, similar to The Hangover and Girls Trip, these are films that really don't care if they offend you. They're not out there to be your best friend, to hold your hand. They're out there to make you laugh, and I appreciate that. It's the kind of comedy I like because sometimes you just have to be offended. You just have to go, yes, you could find the comedy in darkness, and that's what this film is trying to present, at least from what I saw in the trailers. Like I saw this movie like way long time ago, so it's been a little bit of time that I've been thinking about it, but it's a film that I really thought I was going to enjoy because I just like when they're ballsy enough to do this type of stuff. Safe comedies can be either hit or miss, but when it's raunchy and when it definitely is authentic, you get a good sense that the film's going to work, and that's what I felt here. I felt this movie is going to work. I thought it was going to be successful, and I've been hearing a lot of good buzz. I think CinemaCon they premiered this film, or at least showed it to the audience, and it got a lot of laughs. A couple other screenings happened. I heard really good things, so I was like, you know what, I really want to see this movie. I hear it's really funny. I'm all about a good time in the theater, and it's like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that, an hour 50 minutes or whatever, so it's not very long. So I was, I'm bored, and on top of that, Stephanie Hsu has become one of my favorite actresses working. These other actresses I don't know much about, but I know they've had careers in the entertainment industry for a little while now. So I went into this movie very optimistic and very hoping that it would be as raunchy and silly as I was hoping for. And so my honest review of this film is it's exactly what I wanted. It's not as funny as I was hoping it would be, but that's just maybe I was not in the right mood when I watched it. Maybe if I watch it with an actual, bigger audience or something like that, maybe it would be a lot funnier. I don't know. It's very much a crowd pleaser, but it's also going to offend you. It does things, it says things, it uses every foul word in the book, and it's a movie that does what Girls Trip and Hangover does best. It takes no prisoners and is very funny in nature, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that they're willing to go there and they're willing to let people just be silly and over the top and doing things that would make your mother blush. And it's that type of movie. I really felt myself enjoying this film. I really felt like it worked. I think the four actresses are absolutely amazing. I think they absolutely have the greatest chemistry in the world. I think Sherry Cola and Ashley Park are absolutely incredible as the two main friends in this movie. I think Sherry Cola, who plays Lolo, has some of the most gut-busting laughter of moments in this film because she's the most like vulgar of this crew. She's funny, she's endearing, and yet she is willing to say whatever she wants, and she's not willing to hold back. And I love that about there. About that, I love that Ashley Park's the more reserved individual, but she kind of is that friend that just kind of coexists and just works, and she's the more successful, so she feels like she's holding this character Lolo back. And everything about it just feels so authentically real and so authentically simple and smart, and just uses it perfectly. And then you have Stephanie Hsu, who comes in the mix, who plays Kat. And Stephanie Hsu is one of those actresses who seems to be very multidimensional, very angular when she comes to as a performance, because in this role she's very reserved, unlike her character in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She is an individual who is very kind of timid, but she's also good at what she does as an actress. She gets involved and she has a history, which is very funny in how it plays out. And this watching how she's like trying to have this traditional life with this traditional boyfriend who's the actor in her life, who is the individual who feels very Puritan in a lot of respects. So watch her character kind of play out. It's very, very funny, very endearing, and very energetic from somebody who's very well respected at this point because of what she's done ever since Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then you have Sabrina Wu, who plays Deadeye, who is like the Zach Galifianakis of this movie, where she says things that are very odd and very kind of out of place, but there's something kind of endearing about what her character does and what she does. She's the individual that just kind of is awkward, but is so awkward to the point that you can almost relate to her. Like, she's an individual that loves to play video games. She's an individual that possibly loves anime, or just loves these kind of weird things that these three other individuals will never relate to. But because of her persona and her personality, there is almost like a likability to her character. Yes, she does stuff that will make it very awkward to the individual, but there's a heart to her character, and that's what I really love. As somebody that feels comfortable in her skin, but also feels the loneliness of her soul, and feels like she doesn't really have a lot of friends. And you can kind of relate to that if you've been in that predicament, but you can also feel like the outsider. And then when this movie moves along, that outsider becomes closer to an insider, and there's just that love and relationship there, as well as being very, very funny and awkward. So each individual character in this movie, as I've kind of explained, gets their moment in the sun that becomes very, very funny. And then on top of that, there's comedic set pieces that you start seeing in this movie that just kind of really accentuate each individual character and allow them to do very, very funny stuff. There's a thing on the train with a particular individual that I don't want to spoil because it's very funny. And it may be in the trailer, I don't know, but it's very, very funny what happens, the predicament happens. There are moments in this that are very of levity. There's a moment in the airport, which I think is one of the funniest things I've seen all year. It's that type of movie. It does the raunchiness when it needs to. It does the lightness and hardness when it needs to. It has heartfelt moments that really help it portray on screen very, very well. My only knock for this film is I just wish it was a little more funnier for me personally. Like I already said this earlier, but there's some moments where they're trying to go really hard when it comes to the humor, and I don't think it lands as well for me, to be personally honest. Maybe it's just not hitting me. Like, once again, maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset. I don't know. But there's a scene where it involves like the hotel, and so I think some soccer players or football players, something like that, where I was trying to make me laugh, but it just wasn't hitting me. And that's just me. Like I said, there are other people that were laughing hysterically, and this movie will be a crowd pleaser. I think it will do very well in its comedic sense now that it's coming out. I just think there were moments for me that were just not hitting. I think some of the characters in this movie of the supporting type, especially the adoptive parents of Ashley Park character, I think they're funny, but I don't think it landed as well as it could. And that's just that. Once again, that is my qualms, that's my quirks for this movie. It just didn't land for me personally. But once again, I can 100% say that this is a movie, if you can stand the gruffness and the very uncomfortable nature that the material presents, and you can handle all the not willing to go and hold themselves back, and the humor, willing to do what stand-ups do when it becomes very uncomfortable with this material, willing to say stuff that's very crass, I think you'll find some real enjoyment from this film. I think it's a real winner. It's a standout of the year. Whether it hits my top 10, it's a very... We'll see. It might be an honorable mention. I don't know at this point, but it's definitely one of the best comedies I've seen this year. It's definitely worth a watch if you go and see it. Just know it's a very crass film. It's very hard R when it comes to this material. It will shock you a little bit when it gets into the material it gets into. So overall, highly recommend. Definitely give it a shot if you like these types of films. So with that said, that'll do it. That'll be my take on Joyride. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What's your favorite crass / very hard R comedic film? Is it like The Hangover? Is it this film? Is it, of course, something like Girls Trip? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.